All righty, it's 12 o'clock, so we're not gonna delay too long. We don't want to keep anybody over their lunch hour any longer than we have to. Good morning, all, or good afternoon, all. Thanks for joining us. We are talking about Fire Prevention Week, which is next month. Today, we invited NFPA to come, and we have a regional representative who had to um, who had to deal with some wildfires in Idaho. So we have Meredith joining us from she stepped into the breach at the very last minute, and let me find her. So as she's finding out, you cannot come off mute or allow your cameras unless I let you, because this is a webinar that is being recorded, and for some reason that's the auto set. So if you find yourself needing to say something, either send me a chat or put it in the or raise your hand and I can take you off mute. But for now, Meredith, you should be off. You should be able to do your own stuff. Is that making sense? Still not working for you? Send her a quick message. Oh, okay. She said it aloud for a second. Oh, there it went again. I see what you're doing. How's that?
I
There
think
she
we
is.
have it. Now,
Fantastic. Thank you.
Marcy, I don't see the ability to share my screen. Is that something you
Mm,
can also do?
I don't know. Mm. Boy, I'm not sure how to do that. I don't see it.
Okay, your camera.
That's an option. Maybe I can make you, well,
Yeah, if you can make me a presenter, perhaps.
that's where, let's see. Maybe this will help us. No. Mm. Is it a PowerPoint you can send to me?
Hey, Marcy,
Yes,
I
Doug?
think if you just right click over Meredith, if you go to people and show our participants, and then right click over Meredith's name, it gives you the ability to make her the presenter.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Save the day. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm standing in for Gary Honnold, who has himself pretty darn busy, but he wanted to make sure this was a priority. So I said I'd be happy to help out. And we talk about all things Fire Prevention Week for the next little bit. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen. And let's see if I can get this PowerPoint up. Let me know, Marcy, can you see that?
I can see it. Yep.
Okay, great. So, like Gary, I am a regional director. I cover the North Central region, which is the Midwest states. So I'm in Michigan right now. Happy to be dropping into North Dakota, though. Pretty exciting change of scenery for me, so to speak. We're going to talk about Fire Prevention Week, which is right around the corner. So we'll take a look. So if we look back at Fire Prevention Week, sort of the history, started in 1922, which makes it the longest running health observance in the United States. And that's pretty significant when you think about different campaigns that are going on across the country, everything from, breast cancer awareness to what have you. This is the longest running health observance. So we stay focused on fire safety and prevention topics. This year, the dates are October 8th through the 14th, which commemorates the Great Chicago Fire, which is where we have our roots. And this is the 103rd year, so a very long time. So Fire Prevention Week themes, we have a number of them that we have been covering, and I'm going to give you an example of a few of those. We're going to go over actually the last decade. Working smoke alarms save lives, test yours every month. Hear the beep where you sleep. Every bedroom needs a working smoke alarm. And I find this a little fascinating too, because my work with NFPA officially began in 2014. So these all really resonate with me and probably with some of you too, if you've been at this business for a length of time. 2016, don't wait, check the date, replace smoke alarms every 10 years. And you may be picking up on a theme here that's kind of running throughout. 2017, we changed it up a bit. Every second counts, plan 2 ways out, concentrating on home escape plans. 2018, we had a little bit more of a broader approach. Look, listen, learn, be aware, fire can happen anywhere. And then we moved on to not every hero wears a cape, plan and practice your escape, back to that home escape planning. In 2020, we focused on fire safety in the kitchen, and I will just share with you that yours truly created the theme that year, that particular tagline, not the actual theme, but the tagline. So I'm awfully proud of that, especially when you think about working in your fire department, which I did 1 year down the road. I would be helping to create the theme for NFPA is pretty exciting. So I'm proud of that. 2021, learn the sounds of fire safety. Again, concentrating on home or smoke alarms. And then 2022, fire won't wait, plan your escape. And finally, 2023, cooking safety starts with you. So back again to that kitchen fire safety. You can look at some of the themed artwork around the smoke alarm theme, and this continues to be an issue. We've had many themes over the years, and they go back, like I said, 103 years, but they largely have been centered around 3 universal issues, and that again is cooking, escape planning, and smoke alarms. Smoke alarms continue to be an issue, and our research reports show, and you probably see from your own data. So this is what some of the artwork looks like around the smoke alarms. So how do we pick these topics again? Well, we look at data-driven themes. Where's the fire problem? And then we want to always make it actionable, something that people can do to make themselves and their homes safer. And then, is it universal? Is this something that we see across populations so that it really applies to everyone in a broader sense? In 2022, it was our 100th anniversary, and the theme centered around the critical need for home escape plans. But again, this year we're excited to unveil, and many of you may have already seen the theme for this year. But again, we're talking smoke alarms. So smoke alarms, make them work for you. And so we really want to make sure that we're emphasizing that people have smoke alarms, they have them in the areas that they need them, that they're in working condition, because nothing is sadder than seeing smoke alarms that are disabled or non-functioning when there's been a fire. You'll also see that we're covering smoke alarms in Spanish, this theme rather, for Fire Prevention Week. And we're excited to have translation into French. So our counterparts in Canada, who are always pounding the table and reminding us that they need to have French resources, or resources as they like to say, those are available. I'm going to try to share a video with you, and hopefully this plays, and if not, Marcy, you can let me know.
Okay. There it goes.
Okay, so why smoke alarms again? Well, cooking does remain the main cause of home fires and home fire injuries. And we know that we live in a world where we're constantly multitasking. We've got distractions from work, a lot of people working from home, phones, computers, other folks in our homes, kids. And the little things sometimes are what we stop paying attention to. And that can be something like keeping our smoke alarms in working condition. So when you get distracted from those things, it can lead to big fires and injuries and fire deaths. And there's so much to know about smoke alarms. I know for the professionals here, this is, old hat for us, although there are new technologies out there, which is making it pretty exciting and a little more challenging. I know I just had a email question that came in the other day from a retired fire chief, and he was like, what the heck? I'm looking for, such and such specifics in a smoke alarm. So there are some new technologies, but people need to know where to install them, when to test them, the different types, the combinations, 10-year sealed, interconnected. So we're going to take a look at those things, but we're also going to keep to 3 specific messages when it comes to working smoke alarms. So install, test, and replace. We want to keep it simple. Where do we need to install them? We need them in every bedroom, outside each sleeping area, in those hallway areas, and on each level, including the basement. And it's also important to note for folks that they may not sleep in traditional sleeping areas. If you have maybe an older adult or visiting guest that's in another room, perhaps sleeping temporarily in a living room or something like that, that you've got a working smoke alarm in that space as well. We say to test once a month. Manufacturers can sometimes say weekly, and replace them when needed. 10 years is the recommended replacement. You may find different manufacturers require replacement times of different dates. It's always good to keep an idea of, and on the back of your alarm, you should see the date of the alarm, so that can allow folks to know when it's time to replace them. Or if they push the button and the test function is not working, it's time to replace an alarm. So let's take a look at different types of smoke alarms. We have our simple battery operated, and a lot of times these are the ones we have campaigns where we're going in and putting them up. They are usually the most affordable option. And certainly I always tell people, purchase the best you can afford. If you have the ability, there's lots of other choices, but if battery operated is your only choice, it's something there in your defense. We have hardwired with no battery backup and hardwired with battery backup, sometimes with strobes. We have our 10-year sealed alarms, which are great to prevent people from pulling those batteries out. Combination smoke and carbon monoxide, and often with all of the above options. We also have multi-sensor, so we can have both types of sensing technologies, photoelectric and ionization. And now we have wireless options, which are great. Also different manufacturers and providers like Nest and different apps. And then there are a lot of different cool things out on the market now when it comes to AI. We were looking through some of these, some of the added options for AI that can get people out of bed with different alarms, different ways to program them. Some with environmental sensors that picks up on the presence of fire quickly, that connect with the firefighters or dispatch centers. Some that record and notify you of any abnormal activity or environmental conditions. Alarms that allow you to know if you've been disconnected from your landline. So there's all kinds of options that people can take a look at, and sometimes that can make it a little bit confusing. And so we want to keep it simple and provide people with the best information. Now, I hope you're all aware of the NFPA EMAC, the Educational Messaging Advisory Committee, and there's a desk reference that is available. And in this desk reference, and we really refer to this as kind of our Bible when it comes to pub ed, and it covers a multitude of topics, very technically, but giving you the spot on messaging so that it's accurate and the most updated, and it has all the information, and that's updated by a committee of professionals, safety professionals from the safety community across the country. And they agree on the best messaging. And I'll give you an example of just how things can be confusing. When you talk about messaging like having a smoke alarm on every floor of your home, sometimes for people with limited English proficiency, the term the floor may be confusing. So we say on every level of the home. And so these are some of the debates that go on with the EMAC committee, pretty robust and interesting. And I've been a part of that a few different times, and there's sure a lot of thought. And then that goes out to our subject matter experts across NFPA, our engineers, and then they look at that side by side with codes and standards to make sure that everything lines up. And then also the EMAC desk reference is what we use as the backbone for all of our resources and materials and curriculum, so that everything is using that same universal language, and that it's updated along with the EMAC. You can find that and you can download that for free at nfpa.org. So different types of smoke alarms, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir a little bit. Ionization versus photoelectric. This is targeted in the desk reference in chapter 1. We know that they respond a little bit different to different kinds of fires. Ionization is more responsive to that open flame, photoelectric to a smoldering fire. Where you place these is going to be important, and people, with ionization can find that there's nuisance alarms if they're near a bathroom or sometimes too close to a kitchen. And then also there's new multi-criteria technology that helps reduce those nuisance alarms. And that lines up with UL's 217. And that's the smoke alarm standard that became effective June 30th of 2024. And it reduces the nuisance alarms. It detects smoke from synthetic materials, and through algorithms can recognize whether or not an actual fire or if it's being triggered from something else. So that's a great new technology. Where do you install those alarms? Again, every sleeping area, outside, on every level of the home, including the basement. And then it's always important to remind people, if you have larger homes, you may need to add additional alarms for full protection. You want to also be prepared for a conversation and questions about if smoke alarms should be placed in garages. We get that a lot, especially now with electric vehicles. Most manufacturers do not recommend smoke alarms in garages. They're not designed for that purpose. Smoke alarms in garages can sound because of a change in temperature and humidity, as well as dust and fumes and insects. You can look at the option of heat alarms that are made to not be affected by these conditions. And actually, USFA does talk about smoke alarm or heat detectors. They respond to those high temperatures, not smoke or fire, but they are more ideal for garages and places like that. So you might want to be aware of that. Installing them, we tell people that interconnected is the best protection. And especially, and that's goes to say that when one alarm goes off, they all go off. You're not waiting for that alarm, that smoke to reach the room that you're in, especially if you're sleeping. And then, of course, with the messaging that talks about sleeping with your bedroom door closed, which we know can slow the spread of smoke and flames, it's going to be vital that you have interconnected smoke alarms. And this is one of the reasons that NFPA doesn't we don't push out the slogan, to sleep with the doors closed, because we want to make sure people aren't relying just on that, that they recognize that they need to have interconnected smoke alarms, because if that fire should start in the sleeping area or right outside the sleeping area, it might not be enough to wake them in that case. When to test your smoke alarms? Well, we say test them at least once a month. Make sure that folks know the sound. And this, today when we have all kinds of technology in our home, including carbon monoxide alarms, it's really important, especially for children, to recognize the cadence of the smoke alarm beep, and that they know that that is alerting to a fire, and not that they need to replace their batteries or the microwave or whatever else is beeping and going off in your home. Replacement, again, 10 years from the manufacturing date or when they stop responding to tests. And then let's take a look at some of the FPW resources that are out there. We have free resources that you can download in English and in French, in many cases in Spanish as well, event flyers, theme art, social cards, tip sheets, press releases, and lesson plans. And of course, I want to share all those with you. In addition, we have a proclamation. So if you get out in advance of Fire Prevention Week, you can get those to your community leaders to make those proclamations. We have all kinds of safety tip sheets. We have new social media frames. I'm going to share some of those, what those look like. Coloring sheets. Who knew coloring was going to be back as a craze for young and old? Checklists. And we're going to take a look at what the landing site looks like here for Fire Prevention Week. And that's the screen that you're looking at here. And it has everything that you need. Your toolkit where you find everything as educators to help you plan, prepare for your programs. Activities are in categories for the general public, for kids and families, and then all of our resources, the safety tip sheets. And then I'm going to, at the end here, as we can conclude, share a little bit about some of the for-purchase products as well. But this is the toolkit page, and you can see here there's theme art, the social media cards, lesson plans, guides and reports, and then if you're looking for those resources in other languages, you can find those as well. We get asked all the time about the theme art. These come in droves, especially this time of year. I will say I just had a meeting recently with our legal division, and they really get bogged down. And as you can imagine, they're handling a multitude of different things in that division. And so sometimes these requests may fall lower on the priority list. And so I just like to let people know, give as much time as you possibly can. 6 months, and that sounds crazy, but 6 months is to be safe, because we hate to have you waiting to have a wrap on a trailer or a vehicle and not get it in time for events that you're planning. So you can find the terms of use. You can download some of this theme art. It's available for you to grab. But if you're looking for the image of Sparky or something else to use, get out in advance with those requests. Again, you'll find these materials when you click on that for other languages, and you can see here, including our tip sheets that are easy to read in some cases, and that's for limited or people who are not proficient in English. And so you've got pictorials that they can, visual cues to follow. So if language is a barrier, those are available for you as well. And then there are tip sheets specifically in a number of different languages. So if you've got some pockets of folks that you're trying to reach, jump on and look at our safety tip sheets to see if we can meet your needs with languages. So some of our new materials I wanted to run through here are social media cards, and you can see the different options in English, Spanish, and French. But these are great way to reach folks. Social media has certainly become a large part of where people get their information, and in some cases, the only part they get. So we want to make sure that we're out there with the accurate messaging for them. And that's really done through all of you, and we appreciate and thank you for the work that you do to keep your community safe. So take advantage of your own social media. You can see here some of the different options. It just takes a few seconds to test your smoke alarms, but this can save a life. And we certainly want to get out these messages. Age matters when it comes to smoke alarms. They need to be replaced. So again, pointing out where you find the date. And that, having working smoke alarms in your homes reduces the risk of dying in a home fire by half. That's huge. And so we want to protect what matters most, and that's the people that we love. Make sure smoke alarms meet the needs of all family members. And this is certainly important if you have any disabilities in the home, whether it comes to hearing or physical disabilities. And there are a number of different smoke alarms out there, options with strobe lights and bed shakers. And so we want to consider also our aging population that may not put themselves in a category of having hearing loss, but they may sleep on their good ear and not hear that smoke alarm. So a bed shaker might be just what they need. So sharing those messages as well. We have some great lesson plans. You can see the lesson plan link there that's highlighted in the bold black. And you can download these options. I wanted to share some of these because they're really great. And I just wanted to point out how robust they are. And you can see here these the 10-minute mini lesson that walks you through. If someone gives you a call and they want you to come in and do a quick lesson on smoke alarms, or you have the opportunity that arises, whether you're doing a station tour or you're at an event, this walks you through. And it's especially great for folks that aren't typically in front of audiences. They want to know exactly what they need to say, and we don't want to skip any vital information. And so these lesson plans always have a hook that grabs people's attention and gets them involved in the conversation. So those are really great. We also have our handouts and lessons for teachers. You can see example of pre-K here. And this again walks through for educators, including a family letter. And these can be used by not only classroom teachers, but also by our fire and life safety public educators that are going into classrooms. And it takes you step by step, just like any other lesson plan. There's tons of printables. These are some frames that can be used for social media, which can be great. You can add those to your personal or professional social media sites. We also have some great checklists that allow people to have reminders of when they have checked their smoke alarms and tested those to make sure that they're in good working condition. An activity for your whole family. You also have some great coloring sheets here, some for kids. I'm going to share one also for adults, but also here are the flyers that you can use. And so we really wanted to make sure that we've created everything. We've done the work for you so that all you need to do is grab the materials and put them up to support your events and activities around Fire Prevention Week. And in many cases, Fire Prevention Month. I know a lot of you are just really busy with activities. And then here's that example of the coloring pages for all ages that people find it very, a lot of meditating through coloring. And so it's good for the soul. Some copies of other printables, you can see here, again, another checklist, and then we've got Flat Sparky that can be used to have activities pointing out how to find 2 ways out of your sleeping area and out of your home. Some other activities for the steps to home escape plans, hidden pics pointing out some of those important things in your home, and fun for kids because they love to find those little visual pictures inside the picture. And then our safety tip sheets. Again, this comes right from our desk reference and making sure, again, for this year specifically, the tip sheet, smoke alarms, make them work for you. So you've got a great handout. You can download those for free, get those out and distributed in your communities. And then we have some more specific tip sheets that are available throughout the year. Learn the sounds of fire safety, and that's, again, the sounds of your smoke alarm in comparison to carbon monoxide, and then those specialized smoke alarms for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. Other resources, there's some quick links to the sites you'll want to know, from NFPA.org to firepreventionweek.org. You can also just simply go to fpw.org, and then we have a couple other sites, sparky.org and sparkyschoolhouse.org, and I wanted to share those real quick. Sparky.org just got a facelift, and it has been revamped very recently. It's for where we send kids and families. We know it's a safe place to send kids. It's not populated with any advertisements that can add in weird things to that you don't know where they come from sometimes. So you won't find any of those at sparky.org, but all kinds of fun things for kids, and they can also be learning about fire safety. And then sparkyschoolhouse.org is for our educators. You can find all the lesson plans there. They're filtered by grade levels. And there's a new search feature now that allows you to find exactly what you're looking for more easily. So if you're going into classrooms or you're talking to classroom teachers, make sure they know about sparkyschoolhouse.org. And then finally, our Fire Prevention Week kits. You find Fire Prevention Week in a box. And what do you find inside here? Well, you'll find banners, posters, magnets, stickers, bags, brochures for adults, 10 tips for fire safety, and a kids activity booklet. And you'll also see down in the corner, there's updates on lithium ion batteries, because that's become such a important topic. So these can be purchased in different quantities. You can purchase them for 100, 300, or 500. And the greatest thing about these is they can be broken up. So you can take the bags out and stuff them with one of each and use those as handouts, or you can break them up and distribute them in different ways. And a lot of people find at their open houses that they want to put out different materials or hand out stickers, or perhaps when they go to the classroom, they want to take stickers. Some people have saved the bags and used those in the later month for Halloween. I've used them in the past as a public educator for birthday parties that we used to have at the station. So however you want to use those, it's up to you, but you can get those different quantities, and they really go a long ways for the amount that you spend. So I can't see the time. How much have I taken here? 32 minutes. So I think we did pretty good. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just take any questions that may pop up, and then allow you to carry on with your meeting and with your lunch.
Okay, so for those of you that weren't here or have forgotten how this goes, because this is a webinar, Teams automatically mutes you and takes away your power to unmute. So if you have a question or want to jump in, either raise your hand and I will do that as I work through trying to just do that for everybody, or type it in the chat.
Yep.
Now,
And I see one there from
you see
Doug.
that?
Yeah, he said, yeah, does NFPA work with any partner organizations where resources for Fire Prevention Week may also be? Yeah, so thanks, Doug. We do work with USFA. We do work with Vision 2020. We also work with State Farm, and there's a great program, and you'll want to find out from your regional director if they're active in your state. A lot of states, and Kelly Ransdell, who is our director of public education, oversees this, but they purchase a number of Fire Prevention Week kits for their different branches, and then those go out directly to fire departments. And so if you're interested in getting your hands on some free materials in that way, you'll want to talk to your regional director and or Kelly Ransdell in public education. Yes, the next question, is there educational material specific to multifamily occupancies? There are. One of our tip sheets addresses that. You can find it there. We used to have community toolkits, and I know when we revamped our website, I was having a hard time finding those. So if you want to reach out to me after the meeting, I will take another look, because there was a community toolkit that specifically spoke to multifamily and multi-age, but there are, I know for sure, tip sheets for high-rise, for multi-family occupancies, so you can grab those for sure.
Okay, folks, that's great questions. I've made a note that I will contact Kelly Ramsdale about the State Farm partnership, and I will touch base with Meredith about the toolkit that we're talking about
Yeah.
here and get that sent out to everybody, if that helps. Anybody else have any other questions? Nothing else we want to jump into? Okay, I'll let you stew on it for a minute, but I want to mention real quick that, as Meredith mentioned, they do partner with USFA, and USFA does have some prevention option or prevention resources out there for you. So I wanted to show you this real quick to give you an idea what you're looking at. So this is their prevention homepage. And up here at the top, they have all kinds of resources. They have their library, their publications specifically for this conversation. They've got the Sesame Street Safety Program. This stuff is all free. So don't hesitate to go dig around on USFA's stuff and find, I don't know, more. There's just lots there. Their library is available to you, all of these things. And if you have any trouble digging around on there, don't hesitate to reach out. I spend a lot of time in there, so I can help you find stuff. Okay,
Marcy, I would say that USFA is a great partner to NFPA.
Yeah.
They also serve on our committee for the EMAC desk reference. So, you know, they support the messaging and we align with them. So we always promote USFA as well.
Yeah, and they do push the Fire Prevention Week. They get behind whatever NFPA brings up, and they push that too. So yeah, and if I haven't mentioned, I mentioned the EMAC to you guys quite a bit, but that's a really great resource that we use quite a bit. So if you need help finding that, let me know. Any other questions, thoughts, anything we want to jump in on? Aaron, all the items from USFA are also are free, but some do have quantity limit. Good point. Thank you, Aaron. Anybody else have any other thoughts? Doug, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Thanks, Meredith. Appreciate your time and effort in jumping on the lunch and learn with us, especially late notice. And so appreciate you covering that for us and helping get the important messages out to our state.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. As you know, Doug, North Dakota used to be one of my states when I was in public education, and I enjoyed visiting. So I'm glad to be there virtually today.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Everybody, this is being recorded, so it will be available if you have any further questions, or if you didn't get to see part of it and you want to go back and review, that'll all be out there. And Meredith has included her contact information. If we can't get a hold of Gary, I think Meredith will help us out.
Yep, I'll put it in the chat real quick for you before we wrap
Okay.
up here. Well, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And thanks for the work that you do.
Thank you, Meredith. All right, if anybody else needs anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll let you have the rest of